Hey everybody, today I'm going to be giving you the key selection guide when picking out a data center. Now the first thing you want to start looking at when you're looking at data centers is the cost efficiency of everything. You know, if there's upfront costs on everything and depending if there's maintenance costs ongoing just to host your servers, that's also automatically going to bring up a red flag. So that's something that I'd be looking at from day one and asking about when I'm approaching a data center about their monthly costs and their pricing for, connectivity or power. Also is ask for the reliability. You want to make sure there's a good reliability, redundancy in the cooling and the power, and you also want to make sure there's connectivity too, as far as redundant feeds into the building. So normally the data centers are not just going to have like one or even two entrances. Sometimes they might have multiple entrances, but maybe that the carrier you're buying internet connectivity from is only coming on one side and leaving out the same way. That's automatically going to bring up a red flag. Same thing as if there's one UPS powering the entire data center with no failover. That should be another red flag if I were asking people about it. Another thing that I see a lot of people doing is as far as redundancy and cooling. Look at where you're hosting your server and try to imagine what the temperature would look like if the AC went down and if there's only one AC providing or one cooling unit providing cooling to your area. You know, if that thing went down, what is the redundancy behind that? And even so far as what's the redundancy behind that actual cooling unit too as well. A couple other things too is look at the security. You know, if you're walking into the data center and you can walk right past pretty much the entrance and walk right up to your servers without having to badge in for anything, and you're just walking through, go ahead and try to pop open and open another cabinet that you're passing and just see if it's open. You know, sometimes the data centers will employ some sort of kind of like, reliability check in order to make sure everything is secured as far as their customer equipment is concerned. So it never hurts to, when you're getting that tour, just pick up a random, door and just see if it opens. I'm not advising, do anything inside, but just see if it turns. If that thing is there, you're going to understand, you're going to see that, immediately that there's some procedure problems within the data center. Also ask for the scalability. Like let's say today you might need a cabinet. Tomorrow you might need a cage. What happens if you need to go, a cage is normally about 100 to 120 square foot pods. They'll try to sell you within inside a caged in area. But what happens if you need to grow? Do you have to move all your servers over to another side of the data center? Or what if you you start doing like a high amount of power and then you need to grow from, let's say 20 kW to 100 kW? How quickly can that data center generate that power for you in a redundancy fashion in order for you to provide ample power to your servers? More things to kind of consider behind it too, as I went before and I elaborated before, is also going to be the network connectivity. You want to make sure there's more than one carrier in that data center, because let's say you have an internet circuit with carrier A. The carrier A gets acquired by some other carrier that everybody knows that is really bad in their uptime, and all of a sudden their services that was awesome from day one starts failing all of a sudden. You want to be able to have that option of picking other carriers within inside that data center. And it also gives you a better price point when it comes to negotiating your costs and a monthly cost as far as internet's concerned. And making sure, another thing is I've always told people is that, never rely on one internet circuit. And it never mattered, on if it was my internet providing it to them. I would say always have a backup. Now moving on to something else I always ask people to do. And this is something that I used to do in front of my customers at one point, is when you are walking through that data center and that salesperson is telling you, hey, Mark, our network operations center is by far the best. They're 24/7, blah, blah, blah. Go ahead and pick up your phone and call that knock and see if somebody picks up the phone and you speak to a real human being. Sometimes it's just as easy as checking out what the salespeople are really telling you. And also not only behind that, as far as a disaster recovery, kind of see what their procedures are. Like, let's say if you got you were co-locating in a data center near the coastline somewhere, what do they do during hurricanes? Do they alert you to let you know, hey, look, we're going to be under like a hurricane advisory or a tropical storm advisory? Or if they're inland, maybe they're going to be going towards some sort of procedure to run on generators during a certain type of blizzard or something like that. Go in and try to figure out and ask those questions when you are looking for that perfect spot for your equipment. Another is compliance. Now, I normally have not stressed on this a lot, but after going through the compliance, this is a must-have for every data center. So whether you're getting like an SSA 16 SOC 1 type 1 or all the way from a SOC 2 type 2 and so on, and there's all kinds of ISO types of security audits that you could be doing depending on what part of the country and what type of clientele you deal with. There has got to be some sort of accountability behind it. Now, the reason why I say that is because before I started kind of in an environment to where it was so cost prohibitive to get a good certification in the colocation. But after I started kind of learning a little bit more about the processes, it wasn't that expensive in the overall picture to do this. So if the data center does not carry any sort of certification, that should throw up a red flag, and I would immediately start asking questions about procedures and protocols, because that right there will tell you about how serious that company is in order how they keep up with their customers' equipment. And also not only that, but the procedures for, theft, employees, their uptime, what do they do when things go down, things of that nature. So take a look at their focus of innovation. See how, the planning goes behind, how they started that data center. Was it a guy in his garage, just kind of started as an internet company and then all of a sudden doing this? I'm going to say that's how I started it. Everybody got their starts, but figure out how involved they are with with their data center and kind of their plans of growth, and kind of take a look at their cooling and their power. It should all be like art kind of collaging together and to form a beautiful picture when you walk into a data center. You will be able to tell by walking into some data centers that everything has been planned out accordingly, from the cooling, from the power to the connectivity, from the ladder rack, and everything you see in that nature should paint a picture for you that, hey, look, these guys are professional, they know what they're doing. But if you get in an environment and things are just hanging off the walls and you're just wondering, how do these people even keep the power on at night? There's something going on the back end that you need to consider. Now, if you like this information and you need help looking for a data center and you want somebody to reach out to, by all means, reach out to someone here at Infrastructure Guides, and we will be glad to help you in your journey, because we already have associations with pretty much all the data center providers across the United States. So we have some sort of relationship. We know what we're looking for, and we could put you in the best possible scenario of what you're looking for. And other than that, I want you guys to have a great day, and like us if you like this content. Talk to you soon.